Welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Dee Dee and this is Randy, and we are here at Frederick County Animal Control bringing you some adoptable animals that are here in the shelter on Rosemont Avenue awaiting homes. And our first guest is Jingle Bells. Jingle Bells is a 4-year-old female brown tabby cat, and she was previously owned and has lots of experience to bring to a family. She lived with kids of all ages, with dogs, I believe with another cat. So if you are looking for a pet to fit into a busy household, she knows just how to do it. One of the things that makes my day is when we get a cat into the shelter in need of a second home and just the perfect match comes along. So we are looking for that for Jingle Bells. And a couple things I can say about her. She's petite. This is her full-grown size. She's not going to get any bigger. And while cats don't range in size as much as dogs do, she is definitely on the smaller side. So if you are interested in a cat that would fit into a small space, perhaps you live in an apartment or rent the basement of a house or something like that, then she is not going to need a lot of space, because not only is she petite, but at 4 years old, she's in the prime of her life and does not need to run around and crash things like little baby kittens do. So one of the things that's going to be happening soon at the animal shelter is we get about 1,200 kittens between April and October. So it will definitely be harder for her to get adopted once all of the tiny kittens are here. So if you've been thinking about getting a cat, now would be a great time for us if you could make that decision, because we need to make room for a lot of new kittens that will be coming in the spring by finding these guys their home. And when I say we need to make room for the kittens, that does not mean that Jingle Bells is going to run out of time and be at risk for getting euthanized. Sometimes people ask us, because we are an open admission shelter, how we manage the 5,000 animals that we get. And the way that we do that is healthy, friendly animals like Jingle Bells get a cage on the adoption floor, and she gets to keep that until she gets a home. What that means is that animals that come in for admission that are not healthy and friendly are at risk. So that is how we manage the population, not based on a time limit, but based on how suitable they will be as pets. We are back with Chucky, and Chucky is a 2 or 3-year-old male orange tabby cat with long hair, as you can plainly see. And he came to us as a stray, but since he's neutered, we know that somebody was caring for him. And one of the things that commonly happens with our population of cats, we get a few thousand cats every year. Half of them are brought to us by people who care for them for a short time and then realize that they can't make that lifetime commitment. The other half come in as stray cats. Their owners are unknown. What is shocking to me is that in the case of dogs, 70% of the dogs that come here lost get reclaimed by their owners. And that is not nearly the case with cats. Less than 10% of our cats are reclaimed. So this morning we had a great happening at the shelter. A little calico cat that was lost for 4 months was reclaimed by her family. They had almost given up looking. She was wearing a collar when she was lost, but when she was found, she no longer had the collar. She had lost some weight, so it's possible that it fell off, or it's also possible that someone got involved in capturing her and trying to get her to us, and they weren't able to. But in any event, she got here 4 months after going missing, and she is reunited with her family. So that is a really happy story for us. Maybe that can happen for Chucky, whose real name we don't know. But if he is not able to be reunited with his family, then clearly he needs a new one that can take care of him. He is a lovely cat, and he's a little bit shy when he first came in, he was a little afraid of us handling him. And as you can see, he's still nervous, but Randy's very good at reassuring him that he is in no danger, and he will soon be able to go back to the cage that he knows so well. A lot of times people worry about cats staying in cages, but since they like to control their space, he would prefer to be in his small cage with his bed, his bowl, his blanket, and no strangers interfering with his activities. What you doing? You're very pretty. We are back with Beans, and Beans is a kitten, only 6 to 8 months old. He is all black with beautiful long fur, as you can plainly see. He is a male kitten that came to us as a stray, so we don't know much about his past. And just like Chucky, he probably was raised by people because he's friendly to people. He's just a little scared coming to a new place. And we have a lot of dogs in the shelter this week and not as many cats. So I'm bringing to you some of the cats who are a little bit more shy and are going to have a little bit harder time being on TV. But I hope to reassure everybody that we wouldn't, animals that really are too afraid to come on TV, we wouldn't make them do it. And in order for Beans to get a new home, this 5 minutes of nervousness might make his entire future better, besides the fact that we have Randy, who's very gentle and careful with them, and we would certainly not ask them. Last time I said that, a kitten sprang from his lap, so I'm not supposed to jinx him. I'll touch wood. But Beans is settling in. His beautiful green eyes are pupils not so dilated, so he's not so scared anymore. It's just really hard for cats to move to new spaces because they're not just predators. Yes, they eat mice and birds in the wild, but they are also preyed upon by larger animals. So going to a new place and having to be faced with all kinds of new smells and locations, harder on cats than it is on dogs. Dogs are more about expanding their territory and going on adventures and traveling with their companions. Cats need to have a little space they protect that can feed them and periodically their family of kittens. So it's a completely different psychological setup for them to survive in the world. So Beans is making himself quite comfortable now, as he will do in your home should you choose to adopt him. And Hazel is a very petite 11-month-old kitten who lived with a family that owned her mother. And the mother cat had kittens almost a year ago, and one of the family members passed away, so they realized they couldn't keep all of the kittens. And that is commonly a problem when people have just one cat and are reluctant to get her spayed, either for financial reasons or the logistics of making the appointment and getting her to the animal hospital. But once your cat has kittens, then you have a difficult situation. Am I going to put them on Craigslist and take my chances with who might get them, which is perfectly reasonable. You can advertise that you have kittens for sale, and you can ask people for any kind of references you like and check them out as you see fit, so you can feel comfortable with that. But if there are 5 or 6 kittens and you keep them all, it's hard on cats to live in a large group. They're social, and mother cats and kittens and their kittens from last year and their sisters do stay together by choice in the wild. Oh my goodness, she's scared. But they do prefer, when they're 9 or 10 months old, exactly the age that she is, to move off and start their own territory. So you can have squabbles between the cats if you keep them, and you can also have litter box wars, which no one can really live with. What happens when adult cats that are living indoors together that wish to have separate territories are contained together is that they can start marking their territory with urine. So it is not easy to deal with that. What is better is to prevent it by spaying and neutering, having multiple litter boxes, and only expecting compatible low numbers of cats to live together. Sounds pretty simple, but when you have a mother cat that has kittens and you love them all and you want to keep them all, it can be easy to get yourself into some trouble. The other thing is the financial responsibility of spaying and neutering. There are a lot of people who are going to help you if you're willing to keep a cat, because we get so many cats in a year, we can't find homes for them all. So if you're going to keep a cat and you just are struggling financially to get all of the things started, rabies shots, microchip, neutering, then getting a shelter cat takes care of all that for you. But if you already have a cat, there's a group U2SA that can help. The Animal Welfare League has a group called Friends Helping Felines, and you can find these groups on the internet, but if you have any trouble at all, please call us at 301-600-1546, and we will give you direct links to all of these people that will help you to keep your pet. We are back with our next guest. This is Simon, and as you might imagine, Simon could be quite alarmed by living in a building full of cats and dogs. But actually, he is pretty friendly and outgoing and has been staying in our kennel manager Linda's office. He does have a little roommate, which we believe to be his brother. So Simon and Garfunkel are available for adoption together. They are pretty social, so it's nice if you have two of them, because they'll keep each other company, and it is also great if you take them out regularly and handle them so that they remain friendly and tame. But if they have each other's company, it really goes a long way to fulfilling their social needs. Mice are quite fastidious, so they can make a pretty elaborate cage setup if you give them the supplies to do so. So for example, if you get a larger cage with lots of compartments and use the bedding called Carefresh, they will make tunnels and rooms and mountains and all kinds of fun things to watch. They can eat, unlike guinea pigs, they can eat a variety of fresh food. So while you should buy mouse food to make sure that they're getting the proper vitamins and minerals, and that can be done in the form of a food called Lab Lox. But they also enjoy all kinds of other things. A lot of times people are looking for a starter pet for a child to see if they might be ready for another pet. Now, I could say to that all pets are equally in need of care, and that there's really no pet you can get that's easier than any other pet. They're all individual animals, they need what they need, and you have to provide that. However, since mice do not need to go for walks 3-4 times a day outside, it can be that while they're not any easier to provide for, the care they need is different and may much better fit into your busy schedule than maybe a dog or a horse or an animal that needs a lot of outdoor time if you're not going to have that kind of schedule. So if you think that Simon and Garfunkel would make a nice pet for you or someone that you know, then you can find them on petfinder.com. You can pass their picture around. You can come by the shelter and meet them. And if there is a pet that you've always wanted that you don't know if we're going to have, then we have a waiting list. So you could call and say, I've always wanted a hedgehog, please call me if you get one. We would be happy to do that. We're going to take a short break, and then we will be back with more adoptable animals from Frederick County Animal Control. Hope you join us.
Need an idea for your child's birthday party? Look no further. At the Middletown Rec Center, we have all your birthday party needs. We have a full-size gymnasium, our large rec room, sports equipment, and many birthday party theme ideas. Each party includes crafts, games, and a story. Please call 301-600-1646 for more information.
We are back with Misty. Misty is a Boxer Lab pit mix, and we know this because we have met her parents. So Misty and her siblings are available for adoption, and as we do with all puppies, we take 4 applications for each puppy, and then we choose the best match for that puppy. As you can see, this particular litter of puppies is very friendly, likes people a lot, but has lots of energy. We sometimes have puppies that we bring you that are really mellow and lap sitting. Not these guys. These guys want to do stuff, but they're not by any means hyper. They sleep a good part of the day and hang out with each other. They grew up in kind of an ideal situation for dogs socially. They grew up on 55 acres with a lot of adult dogs that taught them some manners and how to be respectful. But one of the things that did happen to them prior to coming here is they weren't afforded all of the vet care that they could have had. So we had to have them in quarantine for some time while they got healthy. And obviously this is the same situation that we were talking about with the cats. If you have a dog that you dearly love, but you just cannot afford to get her spayed, then there are groups willing to help you get that done so that you don't run into the situation that happened in this family. We're going to introduce you in a little while to her half-brother from the previous litter, also a fantastic dog. But it can be a problem if you have a dog that you can't afford to spay, because they only come in season twice a year, but for 3 weeks they're fertile, female dogs, and it seems like not a big deal that you say, oh, for 3 weeks twice a year I can certainly keep her away from other dogs. But it's not always as easy as that, because she has a mind of her own and she will try to escape, and other dogs will come to your house if they can escape. So it really is easier on you if you get your dog spayed or neutered, unless you are an experienced breeder that can guarantee that they stay separate, and also unless you're prepared to care for the puppies that result from lack of supervision. These puppies, Misty in particular, are still in need of their final application so that we can pick the best match for all of them. And of course we spay and neuter and microchip them and finish all of their first veterinary visits for you, including giving you a coupon for a visit at a participating vet once you take them home. We are back with OC, and OC is Misty's 9-month-old brother. He has the same mom. He was born on the same 55-acre land where he was able to meet a lot of other dogs, interact with wildlife, and he is just a lovely, mellow, big, wonderful dog. So if you have been thinking about getting a big puppy, he has all the advantages of growing up in a social way with other dogs as well as with people. As you can see, his tail is constantly wagging. If you have a very low coffee table, you may want to change that out for something a little taller, because his tail could clear that off in a quick second. And OC is named OC for Ocean City. His owner named him and raised him in the free way that every dog would dream of growing up, and had, as I explained, a number of dogs, and it was just, too many to properly care for after a point. So if you are interested in a big, lovable dog, then OC might be the right dog for you. One of the things to think about if you're going to get a big dog with a big head, even though that we know that he's Boxer Pit Lab, any dog with a large head, plain colored like this, sometimes landlords are alarmed with. Now, this week, the Maryland General Assembly passed a law that does not enable insurance companies or lawsuits to blame a dog for his behavior based on breed, which is wonderful. But that doesn't mean that people are over the scare. So if you rent, or if you have homeowners insurance, you just want to clear up before you move forward with the adoption of a big dog, that it's okay with those service providers. And also that you educate yourself about big dogs. There's no difference between a big dog and a little dog. It's just that when little dogs run loose and bite and cause trouble, they usually do not cause enough damage to involve their owners in legal trouble. They certainly can. It's just that big dogs scare people, and big dogs that run loose can knock people down, and people are more likely to take action if they are afraid or if they feel that they've been injured. So If you can handle a big dog like OC, then please come to the shelter. Our next guest is Chico, and Chico is a Chihuahua mix, probably mixed with some kind of terrier, and he is young. He came to us as an owned dog, but he was acquired for a very short period of time. The people who got him found him on Craigslist. They brought him home and realized that he was just too much for them. Chico is not neutered, which we will be taking care of. He is only 11 months old, so he's also not house trained, which we can tell you how to do, and we are working on here as well. Obviously, he really likes people and being touched and handled. He is a nice little dog. He makes a great watchdog. He's very quiet right now, but one thing that you should know about if you intend to get any kind of terrier mix is that if he becomes alarmed about strangers, he barks. So you need to know that if you were going to, a lot of times people think a small dog is right for an apartment, and that's not necessarily the deciding criteria. For example, greyhounds can make fabulous apartment dogs because while they do need a lot of exercise, when they're indoors, they're very much couch potatoes. They don't like the rain, they don't like the cold, they like to have the easy life, and they're not overreactive to strangers. So a dog like Chico may not be the best dog for an apartment because he's high energy and he does bark at strangers. If you share walls with other people, then you can end up with a dog who thinks that the neighbors are strangers and barks at them until he gets used to it. So you need to be aware of that. He is also, because he's part terrier, he's got a lot of energy. I mean, this little guy could be a camping, frisbee, catching, squirrel hunting. He's a lot tougher than his size would give away. In fact, one of the interesting things about dogs and their size is that some large dogs are much more laid back and mellow than some small dogs. So it is possible to find a big dog in a little package, such as I think that Chico will be. If you are interested in a short-haired dog, it is also important to know that all dogs shed. There's no such thing as a non-shedding dog. There's no such thing as a hypoallergenic dog. It is just that dogs with curly or wiry or wavy hair tend to need their coat brushed out instead of having it fall out everywhere. And if you are allergic to dogs, then hair is part of the problem, and containing it can make you more or less allergic to specific different breeds of dogs, or types of coat, I should say, not necessarily breeds. So if you think that Chico would make a good match for you, consider coming in and meeting him. If you would like to have a purebred Chihuahua, then consider our waiting list. We are back with Samuel, and Samuel is the name that we gave this Border Collie mix. And the reason that we had to name him was he came to us as a stray. Someone found him on Possum Town Pike, and we are hoping to find his owner. He's only been here for 2 days, and we do hold them all for 5 days before we would consider giving them to another home. And Samuel sits down when you ask him to. He lies down when you ask him to. He knows how to walk on a leash. So we are very sure that he belongs to somebody, and actually someone not too far from our shelter on Rosemont Avenue. So if you know anyone who is missing a short-haired black and white collie type dog, please let them know that he may be in the shelter. He came in without a microchip, not wearing any ID, so we have no way of finding out who he belongs to other than this, which we will of course try to do. And then at the end of that 5 days, if no one comes forward and we don't receive any, there you go, we learn something new every day. So clearly he is someone's pet and someone knows him. We are calling him Sam, and he will be made available for adoption if no one claims him in about 4 days from now. So if you think that Sam would make a nice dog for you, please come in and meet him. And we won't finalize the adoption until we've had a couple of days to wait for the owner. But 70% of our stray dogs are reclaimed within the first couple of days, and he was not. So we are suspecting that either his owner is out of the area, or sometimes people acquire a stray dog that they take care of for a time, and when that dog runs off, they assume that he's gone back to his old home. So if you would pass his picture around, and remember that Samuel is not the name that his family would know him by. We made that up so that we can call him that while he's here in the shelter. So perhaps his real owner will still come forward, and that would be nice for him, as long as that's a good situation and somebody who wants to take care of him. But as I said, very often people find a dog, keep him for a while, hoping to find the owner, and when the dog takes off, they assume that he's gone back home, so they don't make an effort to find him again. And maybe they're not serious about keeping him. So we can certainly find someone who is. I know. We are back with Killian, and Killian is a puppy, despite his size. He is not quite a year old yet, and he is some kind of hound retriever, as you can clearly see. He is, we're going to do the same for him that we do for all of our puppies, take 4 applications and find the best match. We will, of course, microchip and neuter him and all of that good stuff. But he has a great puppy attitude. He is sitting for Randy. Randy can lure him into a down. He is, he's even thinking about doing it on his own. He is a friendly and outgoing puppy, and lots of people tell us that they are looking for a family pet that is a retriever type of dog, which Killian definitely is. And oh yeah, because he has the hound ears. What Randy was just saying is we haven't heard him howl or bay or any of the barking and hound behavior, but his ears clearly say that he's probably some kind of part hound. And a very popular hound in Frederick County is treeing Walker Coonhounds, but there are lots of red bones and blue ticks, so he could be definitely part hound and retriever. And hounds and retrievers make great family dogs, so I suspect that Killian will make somebody a really great match. He kind of looks like the dogs from where the red ferns grow, and he's very determined to explore the room and see what there is to do here. One of the things to think about if you're going to get a puppy is it does take 2 years to make a good dog, and everyone can be a little bit daunted by that fact. But during that 2 years, the more time your dog spends with you, the more manners and things that they learn just by osmosis, just by being out and about. And once you have that dog trained, when he is 2 or 3 years old and can take him wherever you want to take him, the enjoyment that you get out of that will make those 2 years seem like they were just nothing. And because he is already a year old, then some of his maturity, his ability to pay attention, his ability to defer gratification for later is much more easier to get at this point in his life than it was when he was 8 weeks old. So you benefit by the fact that he's been around people for a year or a little less, and is used to having a leash and collar on. Whether he is understanding what we expect of him with the collar and leash on has yet to be determined. But he's a really nice puppy, and he's going to make somebody really happy. So if you think that any of our pets would make a good match for you or someone that you know, Twitter, Facebook, the link at the bottom of your screen is for this episode, as well as we'll link you to past episodes of Pet Pals. You can pass those around as well and help us get the word out. Another thing that we could use right now, Lauren has asked me to say at the end of each show, is indestructible toys. She really needs the Kongs, rope toys, and sometimes people have those lying around. Their dogs are no longer interested in them. We don't care if it's a little banged up. We will definitely put those old used toys that are indestructible to good use here at the shelter. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.